Immunology. We'll discuss this session according to following learning objective. We'll discuss what is immunity, how we can define immunity, what is herd immunity, what is the mechanism of herd immunity, how it is achieved, what is cold chain, why it is essential, what are vaccines, what are various types of vaccines, and what is current EPA schedule in Pakistan. In the end, we will summarize the session. Let's start with immunity. What is immunity? Immunity is the defense system of our body. It's a condition our body has when it knows that how to make antibodies for a specific disease. Or we can say that antibodies are made by our body against a specific disease. It's a defense system. That's why if someone gets ill, he fights off against the disease because T cells show our B cells that pathogen has come, so it make antibodies. There are two types of immunity: active immunity, passive immunity. Active immunity, when our body knows how to make antibodies. What is passive? You receive antibodies from outer sources, from another sources, like from maternal milk, from injections. Antibodies are injected, they can be injected. Maternal milk provide antibodies. Active immunity, we can get active immunity by getting an infection with illness. If someone gets infection with illness, next time body will make antibodies and we need vaccination, or we can get vaccination. Vaccination also provides active immunity. How passive immunity is achieved? Passive immunity is achieved by immunoglobulins. We inject immunoglobulins. Herd immunity, as the name suggests, when majority of population gets infection or it is vaccinated, remaining population becomes immune, or it becomes automatically immune. Remaining population, they get immune. That is herd immunity. Like we have achieved herd immunity in polio, in measles. Alternative names are herd effect, community immunity, population immunity, because population is immune, community is immune, and social immunity. It provides protection from a disease in a group because large enough population is infected or immunized and immunity spreads to other persons. There is reduced probability of infection. Chance of becoming infected becomes less. There is protection. It applies to vaccinated and non-vaccinated people as well. Like in case of COVID, if we suppose majority population is vaccinated, remaining becomes immune. They are unvaccinated. Proportion among individuals in the population. It provides threshold proportion. Basically, it provides immunity to remaining population. Individuals who are immune to a disease, they act as a barrier. Basically, those who are vaccinated, who are immune, they provide a barrier to spread the disease. Herd immunity provides a threshold, like we have achieved. We have already mentioned we have achieved in polio. It prevents infectious disease. Infection is, what is infection? It's an invasion, it's a replication, it's a multiplication of organism in the host. Then it provides the disease. There are certain types of herd immunity like innate herd immunity. That is automatically achieved. That is determines physiological changes with respect to antibodies production. Antibodies are produced or other defense mechanism. It does not depend on previous exposure. It doesn't depend on vaccination. The type is acquired herd immunity. It is acquired. How it is acquired? Through vaccination, through repeated infections. There are two methods of achieving herd immunity: active immunization and passive immunization. Active immunization by vaccination. Passive immunization, immunoglobulins. They can be injected, like immunoglobulins of tetanus. Vaccine, like vaccine of measles, mumps, rubella, coronavirus. What vaccine provides? It provides clinical protection. It provides protection against the disease. It prevents the disease. Like if measles vaccine is given to a child, he may not develop measles, or if he develops measles, that will be mild to moderate. They reduce susceptibility to infections. They reduce infectivity. Infectivity reduces. There are certain advantages and disadvantages of herd immunity. What are major advantages? Infection elimination. It eliminates infection. It reduces the risk of infection. It even provides immunity to those whose vaccination is contraindicated. So it is very essential. Vaccination is essential. Masses should be vaccinated to provide immunity. Major disadvantage is that it only applies to contagious diseases. It only applies to communicable diseases like measles, coronavirus. Now we'll discuss cold chain. It is essential to maintain vaccine at optimum temperature. Otherwise, vaccine becomes contaminated. Use of contaminated vaccine can provide a severe disease. It is lethal. It can kill. Like if measles vaccine is contaminated, child may die due to diarrhea, due to high-grade fever. So what is cold chain? It is maintenance of vaccine from manufacturing till delivery. Maintenance of vaccine at optimal temperature, at certain temperature. When it is manufactured, then it is stored, then it is distributed, then it is distributed to client, or it is injected. So we need to maintain it at optimum temperature. Optimum temperature maintenance is required. This is called cold chain. It's a common university question. It is asked during Vial hours. What are cold chain storage equipment? Certain equipment are used. Walk-in cold rooms. There are cold rooms. There are deep freezers, ice-lined refrigerators. These are walk-in cold rooms. And these are refrigerators or freezers where these vaccines are kept. These vaccines are maintained at optimum temperature. While storing a vaccine, what should we do? What should we don't do? Don'ts. No food or medical specimens. Fridge should only contain vaccine. Don't place fridge in direct sunlight. Exposure to sunlight is contraindicated. Don't store vaccine for more than 1 month. Storage period should be less than 1 month. Don't store vaccine in fridge doors. They should be kept empty. Keep vaccine away from fridge walls. And what should we do? Use of dedicated vaccine fridge. Fridge should only contain vaccine. It should not be filled more than 50%. There should be plastic mesh baskets. Group vaccines. Vaccine should be labeled. We should defrost the fridge regularly. Ensure backup facilities like generator facilities or backup facilities. They are required. We need to keep vaccine at optimum temperature. So you should remember that no other things should be kept in fridge like food, other things. Plus, fridge should be defrosted and it should not be filled more than 50%. There are alternative sources. Alternative sources or backup facilities should be provided. Fridge should not be kept in direct sunlight exposure. We should monitor vaccine vial. What is vaccine vial monitor? It is a label that contains heat-sensitive material. Color of label changes. If color changes, we should discard the vaccines. There are 4 stages. Stage 1, Stage 2, Stage 3, and Stage 4. At Stage 1, there is little or no exposure to heat. In Stage 2, so we can use the vaccine. In Stage 2, there is very little exposure to heat, but still vaccine can be used. We can't use vaccine at Stage 3 and Stage 4 because in Stage 3 there is exposure to heat, color of vial changes. We need to discard it. And Stage 4, vaccine, Stage 4, vaccine is discarded. Our time passes beyond the discard phase. So we can only use the vaccine at Stage 1 and 2. Stage 3 and 4, vaccine should not be used. Color of vial changes. Every healthcare worker, every vaccinator should be trained regarding vaccine vial monitor. Contaminated vaccines are causing problems. They are killing people. They should be educated. They should be trained regarding this, that if the color changes. If vaccine is exposed to heat, you should discard the vaccine. You should not give the vaccine to anyone. Because contaminated vaccine can cause toxic shock syndrome. It is a common question that what is toxic shock syndrome? Toxic shock syndrome arises due to use of contaminated vaccine. There is high-grade fever, there is diarrhea. Child may die due to a dehydration. These are the vaccines. Various types of vaccines are used. They are live, they are killed. They are given at different stages, different ages. What they provide immunity. How we can define vaccine? A vaccine is a biological product that improves the immunity. Basic aim is to improve the immunity. Vaccine contains an agent that resembles to disease-causing microorganisms, and it is often made from weak or killed forms. So there are live vaccines, there are killed forms. Microbes are live or they are killed. These agents stimulate body immune system. Body recognizes it as foreign agent and destroy it. So immune system gets boost. The term vaccine and vaccination, they are derived from very old vaccine, and the term was devised by Edward. So vaccines provide immunity. Either we can use live, either we can use killed. There are several types of vaccine. Live attenuated vaccine. There are inactivated vaccines or killed vaccines. There are subunit vaccines. There are toxoids, conjugate vaccines, DNA vaccines, recombinant vector vaccines. These vaccines are used. Like, what is live vaccine? Live attenuated vaccines contain a version of living microbe, but it has been weakened. It can't cause the disease. It is live vaccine, so it provides immunity. This is a good immunity provider, or it is closest thing to natural infection. So these vaccines are good to boost immune system. What are live vaccines? It can be asked. Measles vaccine is live. Mumps vaccine is live. Chickenpox vaccine is live. So they resemble to natural organism. What are inactivated vaccine? In certain circumstances, scientists need to produce inactivated vaccine. They kill the disease-causing microbe. How it is killed? By use of chemicals, by heat, by use of radiation. They are killed. Such vaccines are more stable and safer than live vaccines. They are safer because the organism is killed. Live vaccine can produce the disease. As in case of polio, oral polio vaccine provides vaccine-derived polio virus cause virus is present in the vaccine. But if it is killed, it is safer. In case of inactivated polio vaccine, it doesn't cause polio virus. Vaccines against influenza, polio, hepatitis A, and rabies, they are inactivated vaccines. They are killed vaccines. In case of coronavirus, both live and killed vaccines are used. What are subunits vaccine? Sometimes we don't use the entire microbe. Subunits vaccine include only antigens that are best stimulus. Our best stimulus antigens are selected to boost the immune system. In cases these vaccines use epitopes, because subunit vaccine contain only essential antigens. Other antigens are not present, like in plague immunization. Subunit vaccines are used. Toxoid vaccines. Certain bacteria provide toxoids, so we need to give toxoid vaccine. Like in case of snake bites, we can give toxoid vaccine. In case of diphtheria, diphtheria spreads through toxoids, so we can give toxoid vaccine. Conjugate vaccine. If a bacterium possesses an outer coating of sugar like polysaccharides, then conjugated vaccines are given. You have to remember their example. Haemophilus influenza type B vaccine. This is conjugate vaccine. DNA vaccines are used, but they are still under trial. The clinical trials are still being done to provide DNA vaccine because they will provide best immunity. Influenza vaccine. This is DNA vaccine. Recombinant vector vaccines. They are experimental vaccines similar to DNA vaccines, but they are attenuated vaccines. Like DPT vaccine is recombinant vaccine. The diphtheria, pertussis, and tetanus vaccine is recombinant vaccine. You have to remember this. Or saponins. Sometimes we add substance with the vaccine. They are saponins. They are natural glycosides or steroids. They boost the immunity. They activate the immunity. Whilst adjuvant vaccines, they are saponins. We have discussed various types of vaccines. Now, we will discuss expanded program on immunization, or we'll discuss EPI schedule. What is EPI? What is expanded program on immunization? WHO has the goal to make vaccines available for all children throughout the world. This means every children living in any part of the world will be vaccinated, should be provided with vaccination services to reduce the burden of certain communicable diseases, to prevent certain communicable diseases. What expanded means? It is expanding. Like in Pakistan, initially, vaccines against 6 diseases was given. Now, vaccination against 12 diseases is done. So it is expanding. We need to expand this. Population is increasing. We need to expand program. We need more healthcare workers. We need more health facilities. We need more budget, more money. More diseases are becoming prevalent. So it is expanding day by day. What are the main objectives of EPI? To achieve 100% coverage with EPI vaccines like measles, mumps, rubella, we need to achieve 100% coverage. Eradication of polio to maintain polio-free status. Polio-free status, as polio is just present in Pakistan and Afghanistan. We need to eradicate polio. We need to eradicate polio because we need to limit disability. Elimination of measles, because measles is common in malnourished children, in children less than 5 years. It can be lethal, it can cause death. So we need to provide vaccination against measles to control this infection, to minimize the effects of measles. These are few pictures showing child with measles, with rash. Neonatal tetanus is a death sentence. It can cause death to neonates due to rhesus sardonicus, due to muscular spasm. So we need to eliminate neonatal tetanus by vaccination. Tetanus vaccination is provided in EPI schedule. We need to maintain zero level of diphtheria because diphtheria can spread from pharynx to larynx. It can cause cutaneous diphtheria. There is nasal diphtheria. So we need to maintain zero level against diphtheria. Diphtheria vaccination is included in EPI. There should be prevention against TB, TB meningitis and miliary TB. BCG vaccine, which is given at birth, provides immunity against TB meningitis and miliary TB. TB is lethal. TB can increase mortality, especially in low socioeconomic people in child. So we need to give this vaccine to reduce the incidence of whooping cough, 100-day cough. It is predominant in children less than 2 years. There is rib fracture, there is herniation, there is pneumothorax cause. Consistent or persistent cough can lead to complications. Child becomes cyanosed, child dies. So it is easy to prevent measles rather than be easy to prevent whooping cough. So to prevent whooping cough, pertussis vaccine is included. We need to reduce the incidence of bacterial meningitis due to Haemophilus influenza, because Haemophilus influenza can lead to meningitis. So influenza vaccination is added in EPI schedule. In Pakistan, EPI was started in 1978 and vaccination was done from age of 0 to 11 months and women of childbearing age. Pakistan has made impressive gains. Pakistan has increased the coverage of EPI. Pakistan has increased the number of vaccination, but still there are certain various loopholes. We need to bridge these gaps. We need to bridge these loopholes. We still need to increase the coverage. There are certain problems which influence the coverage, like terrorism, lack of awareness, lack of education, myths, immunocompromised people. What are various objectives of this program? Target is to achieve 90% routine immunization, minimum 90% routine immunization by the year 2012. The elimination of neonatal tetanus, it is eliminated. Reduction of diphtheria, pertussis, and childhood TB to a maximum level. Their complications are severe. Their complications are causing death. So it's better to control these diseases through prevention. Specific protection is mandatory. Control of other diseases by addition of new vaccines, like rubella vaccine is added, typhoid vaccine is added in EPI, IPV is added. So program is expanding. Government is trying to expand. Government is trying to establish partnership with local NGOs. Community participation. Health, they are trying to increase health education. Community participation is mandatory. So government is trying to provide education measures. Government is training healthcare workers. There are vaccination centers in Pakistan. Every child is immunized. Or we can say government is trying to immunize every child. What is the EPI schedule? You need to remember time and vaccine names plus diseases. Remember, it's a common question. Nowadays, it provides immunity against 12 diseases. We'll discuss them one by one. At birth, BCG vaccine is given. Oral polio vaccine is given. Hepatitis B vaccine is given to certain districts. BCG provides immunity against TB. OPV provides immunity against polio. Dose of BCG at birth is 0.05 ml. Oral polio drops are given, usually 2 drops are given. Remember, BCG vaccine is injected in right deltoid or in right shoulder. There is a scar mark. And after the gap of 6 weeks, oral polio is repeated. You need to repeat oral polio vaccine. Plus pentavalent one is given. Plus pneumococcal is given. What is pentavalent? It contains 5 vaccines. Repeated diphtheria, pertussis, or it provides immunity against 5 diseases: diphtheria, pertussis, tetanus, plus hepatitis B, plus Haemophilus influenza. That's why it is called pentavalent. Pneumococcal provides immunity against pneumonia. We have added a new vaccine in 6 and 10 weeks, that is rotavirus vaccine. Rota is also added. Why it is added? Because there is increasing incidence of diarrhea. Children are dying due to diarrhea. Rotavirus provides immunity against diarrhea. It is added at the age of 6 and 10 weeks. At 14 weeks, OPV, pentavalent, pneumococcal, plus we have added IPV vaccine, inactivated poliovirus vaccines, at the age of 9 months and 15 months. At the age of 9 months, measles plus rubella. At the age of 15 months, measles plus rubella. Typhoid is also added at the age of 9 months. IPV is also added at the age of 9 months. What are new additions? Rotavirus vaccine is added. IPV is added. Typhoid vaccine is added. Rubella vaccine is added. You need to remember that every vaccine, injectable vaccine, dose is 0.5 ml and it is injected intramuscularly, except tuberculosis, except BCG vaccine. Dose at birth is 0.05 and it is injected at right adult. Dose of Rota is 1.5 ml. So, you need to remember diseases. EPI provides coverage against tuberculosis. It provides coverage against polio. Then, it provides coverage against diphtheria. It provides coverage against pertussis. It provides coverage against tetanus. It provides coverage against hepatitis B, against Haemophilus influenza, against pneumonia, against diarrhea, against typhoid, against rubella. At birth, TB vaccine or BCG vaccine is given, so it gives protection against TB, polio, diphtheria, pertussis, tetanus, influenza, rubella. What are new additions? Diarrhea, rotavirus vaccine, typhoid vaccine, and rubella vaccine are new additions. It also provides protection against measles. So these are the 12 diseases. Schedule is still expanding. You must remember that EPI provides protection against 12 diseases. And if we summarize, we can say that we have discussed immunity. What is immunity? It is defense system of our body. Our body recognizes foreign agent, forms antibodies, and provides protection against diseases. There are 2 types of immunity: active and passive. Active through vaccination, passive through immunoglobulins. Then we discussed herd immunity. When maximum population gets vaccinated, remaining becomes automatically immune. We have achieved herd immunity in case of polio and measles. Then we discussed cold chain, maintenance of vaccine at optimal temperature. Vaccine should be maintained, should be kept at optimal temperature. Then vaccine while monitor. Color of vaccine changes if it is heat sensitive. If vaccine is exposed to heat, color of vial changes, we should immediately start the vaccine. Then we discussed various types of vaccines. There are live vaccines, there are killed vaccines, there are toxoid, there are conjugated vaccines. These vaccines are given. And in the end, we discussed EPA schedule. What is goal of WHO? To provide vaccination to every child. It is expanding. Population is increasing. Coverage is increasing. Number of diseases is increasing. Number of vaccines is increasing. Pakistan adopted EPA in the year 1978. Initially, it provided immunity against 6 diseases. It is expanding. Government is trying its best to provide immunization, to increase the coverage. to reduce the myths, to provide health education. Now it is expanded to 12 diseases. We have discussed it provides immunity against tuberculosis, against polio, against diphtheria, against pertussis, against tetanus, against diarrhea, against pneumonia, against measles, against rubella, and against typhoid. So we need to remember time, we need to remember vaccine, we need to remember dose, we need to remember disease. So number one, vaccination is given at birth. Number two, it is given at 6 weeks. Then it is given at 10 weeks. Then at the age of 14 weeks. Then at the age of 9 months. Then at the age of 15 months. You must remember these time. Birth 6 weeks, 10 weeks, 14 weeks, 9 months, 15 months. Which vaccines are given at birth? Polio is mandatory. It is given till the age of 5 years. There is BCG vaccine. Some districts have hepatitis B vaccine. At 6 weeks, you remember pentavalent, penta plus pneumococcal plus rota plus oral polio vaccine. Same is repeated at the age of 10 weeks. In 14 weeks, there is one change. We give penta, we give pneumococcal, we give OPV and IPV, inactivated polio vaccine, because WHO elimination program suggests that we should increase our vaccination. We should change our vaccination from OPV to IPV to reduce the incidence of vaccine-derived polio virus. That's why it is included in EPI. Typhoid vaccine is also included at the age of 9 months, plus OPV. At the age of 15 months, measles and rubella vaccine is repeated. You can also remember that at the age of 2 years, booster dose of DPT is given. So remember one thing, dose of TB vaccine at birth is 0.05 ml. All other vaccines have dose of 0.5 ml. And oral vaccines dose is 2 drops. So you can remember this easily. And we have already discussed the diseases. That BCG provides immunity against TB. Oral polio vaccine provides immunity against polio. There is immunity against diphtheria, pertussis, tetanus, Haemophilus influenza, hepatitis B, pneumonia, diarrhea, measles, rubella, and typhoid. These are 12 diseases. Remember, every vaccine is given intramuscularly except oral polio and rota, and BCG is given on right deltoid. So you can remember this. You can divide EPI in components: time component, vaccine name, vaccine dose, and disease name. This is a commonly asked university question. There is another scenario. If a child comes to you at the age of 9 months, mother don't know the immune status of child, what you will do? You do tuberculin test. If it is positive, treat TB. If it is negative, you should start vaccination. So if a child comes at the age of 9 months, we can give vaccination. At the age of 9 months, we can give measles plus rubella vaccine. Then oral polio plus typhoid plus IPV plus DPT. These are essential vaccines that should be given immediately. You can also give hepatitis B. At the age of 10 months, you can repeat DPT and hepatitis B and oral polio. At the age of 11 months, same are repeated. And at the age of 15 months, measles and rubella vaccine should be given. Aim is to protect the child against these communicable diseases. Aim is to provide immunity to the child. So there are a lot. And there is another question. Which kind of vaccination is provided to travelers? Remember, nowadays, coronavirus is an emerging public health problem. So we need to give vaccination against coronavirus. We can give typhoid vaccine. If a person is traveling from Pakistan, we can give IPV vaccine. We can give pneumococcal vaccines. If a person is going for Hajj, we can also give meningococcal vaccine. Remember, coronavirus vaccine, polio vaccine, and pneumococcal, these are the mandatory vaccine for travelers. If someone is traveling from Pakistan, if someone is traveling from Africa to Pakistan, we need to see yellow fever vaccination certificate. Because yellow fever is common in Africa. Its certification is mandatory to enter in Pakistan. Otherwise, we will quarantine the person. We will check the status of yellow fever. Then we will allow him to move. So these are the vaccination for travelers. These should be provided. So we can remember various vaccination schedules. We already discussed various schedules when we were discussing communicable diseases. But you must remember EPI schedule. You must remember the time. You must remember the dose. You must remember the disease. And you must remember the aim, why these vaccinations are provided. Here is the question: why measles vaccine is given in Pakistan? Because people have low socioeconomic status. They are living in overcrowded places. Children less than 5 years are susceptible to measles. They may die. That's why we need to prevent measles in Pakistan. EPA schedule is different in various countries. We give BCG vaccine. Europe is not giving BCG vaccine because miliary TB meningitis is common in our country. We have to make vaccination schedule according to burden of our diseases, according to our scenario, according to our population. Polio vaccine. Europe is giving inactivated poliovirus vaccine. We are giving oral polio vaccine because wild strains are present in Pakistan. We are in shifting phase. We are giving IPV also, reduce to eliminate polio. Plus, we are giving pentavalent. We are giving pneumococcal. We are giving rotavirus in Asia cause it is causing deaths. There is another question. Which vaccines can still be given, but they are not included in EPI? Meningococcal vaccine. It is not included in EPI, but it can be given. Rabies vaccine can be given to susceptibles, but it is not included in EPI. Mumps vaccine is not included in EPI, but it can be given. These are few vaccines that can be given to susceptibles, but they are not added in EPI. Other question: when a child presents you at the age of 9 months, how will you proceed? You need to vaccinate the child. You need to protect the child. You will proceed by providing various vaccinations like measles, rubella, because at the age of 9 months, measles, rubella vaccine is usually given, polio vaccine is usually given, typhoid vaccine is usually given. So you add some previous vaccines like DPT, hepatitis B, and as we have already mentioned that TC vaccine should be given, but dose changes at the age of 9 months. It is 0.1 ml. Remember one thing: if you perform tuberculin test, if it is positive, you should treat TB. But if it is negative, then you will give BCG vaccine. That's why I described it at the end. These are mandatory vaccines at the age of 9 months. At the age of 10 months, you can give other vaccines. 11 months, you can repeat them. So, various vaccinations are given at various ages. They depend on incidence of disease. Aim is to reduce, aim is to eliminate the disease, aim is to eradicate the disease, aim is to reduce the burden of disease, aim is to reduce the misery. Plus, we can do other measures also. We have also discussed immunity. Basic aim is to boost the immunity. We are giving measles vaccine, which is live attenuated vaccine. We are giving diphtheria vaccine, which is toxoid. We are giving rubella vaccine, which is live vaccine. Rubella vaccination is currently added in EPA schedule to reduce the incidence of rubella because it can produce congenital anomalies. Plus, during epidemics, you can give vaccines of measles and rubella till the age of 15 years. So these vaccines are provided. Coverage is being increased. We are seeing that maybe in future coronavirus vaccine is also added in EPA schedule. People are getting coronavirus vaccine. We have also discussed vaccination of travelers. We are giving coronavirus vaccine nowadays. We are giving typhoid vaccines. We are giving polio vaccines. We are giving pneumococcal and meningococcal vaccine. That's all.